Okay, so you know how everyone's always going on about different AI systems popping up everywhere?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It seems like every day there's something new.
Right. So the source we're looking at today dives into this idea called the Sinfonía de la Inteligencia.
Sinfonía de la Inteligencia.
Yeah, like a symphony, but instead of instruments, it's all these different AI agents working together. And what's super interesting is they say there's like a conductor for this whole AI orchestra, this thing called Protocolo de Contexto del Modelo.
Protocolo de contexto del modelo.
Exactly. It's known as MCP for short. And we're going to do a deep dive for you today into what this MCP actually is and why everyone's making it sound like it's going to be such a huge deal for the future of AI.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So for everyone listening, it's important to realize that we're not just talking about AI that can, just understand each other at a basic level.
Right.
The stuff we're looking at really emphasizes this idea of interconnected autonomous agents, and the way they present it, MCP, is what makes that kind of complex collaboration possible.
I see.
It's like the framework for a truly intelligent network where all these AI agents can work together.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea of moving beyond just like basic communication between AIs. The source keeps mentioning a semantic layer within MCP.
Right.
What does that actually mean? How does that change how these AI systems interact?
Well, the key difference for you to understand is between just exchanging data and actually understanding what that data means.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, when you talk to another person, you're not just hearing words.
Right.
You're understanding the context, the intent behind what they're saying.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what MCP tries to give to AI. It's not about the format of the information, but the actual meaning, like what the information represents, what different actions imply.
So it's not just System A sent data point X to System B. It's more like System A is warning System B about a critical problem that needs to be fixed immediately.
Exactly.
And System B, it can understand the urgency and how serious that is.
Precisely. And that semantic understanding, for you, for the listener, is really important when you're thinking about AI tackling really complex situations, especially when things are changing all the time. Think of self-driving cars trying to navigate a busy city.
Right.
They're not just looking at raw sensor data. They need to be able to figure out what a pedestrian might do next, what a brake light from another car actually means.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So MCP gives them that level of contextual reasoning, that understanding of intent behind the data, almost like how we understand a conversation, not just the words, but the meaning.
That's really a helpful way to think about it. Now, the source also talks about these MCP agents, and it makes them sound like they're not just passive things waiting for instructions.
Right, they're not just sitting there waiting.
So what are they actually doing then?
Well, the way the source puts it, they're like architects of their own autonomy.
Architects of their own autonomy.
Yeah, which means they can find the data they need, choose which tools to use, and figure out how to do what they need to do to reach their goal without us holding their hands every step of the way.
Wow, okay. And that brings us to, I think for me and you both, the really interesting part, this concept of self-orchestration.
Yeah, self-orchestration.
So are we really talking about AI systems that can basically manage themselves, figure out what they need to do, and then just do it?
That's the heart of it. They can adapt and evolve to whatever the situation is all on their own. Imagine a super advanced medical AI trying to figure out a rare disease.
Okay.
It could pull information from tons of medical databases, read research papers, even consult with other specialized AIs.
And all without any human involvement.
Exactly. And for you listening, that means these AI agents can find problems, get the resources they need, and coordinate with each other to find solutions.
I mean, that sounds incredibly powerful.
It is.
But, I gotta say, it's a little bit unsettling too, right? Like, are we giving up too much control?
That's a valid concern. But on the other hand, think about how much more efficient things could be. And this kind of autonomous AI could handle way more complexity than anything we have right now.
That's true.
And honestly, the source makes a good point about this helping us not get so overwhelmed with all the information out there, because the AI itself would be filtering and figuring out what's truly important.
Okay. So this isn't all just theoretical. The source gives some really concrete examples of how this could play out in different areas.
Right.
Let's start with healthcare. How would this whole Symphony of Intelligence thing actually affect healthcare?
For you, the listener, it could mean some pretty big changes in healthcare. Imagine AI looking at your entire medical history, like your DNA, your test results, your scans, even your lifestyle, all in real time, and using all that to create a personalized treatment plan just for you.
That's amazing.
And it could also help with predicting disease outbreaks, like the source says. Yeah, AIs could constantly be watching public health data, looking for those early warning signs of an epidemic that we might miss otherwise.
Wow, so it could really make a huge difference in healthcare. What about finance?
While in finance, being fast and accurate is everything, right?
Yeah, definitely.
MCP could help AI catch fraudulent transactions instantly by analyzing mountains of financial data.
That makes sense.
And for things like investment portfolios, these MCP agents could constantly be checking the markets, economic indicators, even what people are saying in the news, and then adjust your investments automatically to get you better returns and minimize your risk.
That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, what about transportation? We all get around somehow. How would all this impact the idea of self-driving cars making decisions on the road?
Well, think about how much information a self-driving car has to take in all at once. Sensor data, maps, traffic, even signals from other cars and infrastructure.
Right.
So MCP gives the AI in the car a way to not just process all that, but actually make sense of what's happening around it.
Like situational awareness.
Exactly. It's about the car, understanding the whole driving environment so it can make good decisions, even in difficult situations. Kind of how a human driver thinks.
And finally, let's talk about Industry 4.0 with all those smart factories and supply chains.
Right.
How would MCP affect all that?
So here's where you see those really smart robots that can work together and supply chains that can manage themselves. MCP would let robots understand their tasks, talk to each other and other systems, and change their behavior depending on what needs to be done, even if something unexpected happens.
Wow.
And for supply chains, these MCP agents could keep track of everything, from raw materials to shipping to what customers are buying, and then make adjustments on the fly to keep things running smoothly.
That would be amazing. Now, the source also says that MCP is supposed to be an open ecosystem. Why is that so important?
Well, the great thing about an open ecosystem is that it lets everyone collaborate and innovate. It's like when everyone agrees on a standard, then developers all over the world can make tools and services that work together.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like how the internet works, those protocols let people build all sorts of applications and services on top of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So an open MCP ecosystem would be like that, a foundation for everyone to build on and contribute to, which could really speed up progress in AI.
So it's not like one company controls everything.
Exactly. And that means things can move faster, because instead of everyone trying to do their own thing, we can all work together using this common protocol, which means the AI can actually collaborate and learn from each other.
That's a really cool idea. So to sum up this deep dive into the Sinfonía de la Inteligencia and this Protocolo de Contexto del Modelo, this MCP, is really about a fundamental change in how we think about AI. It's not just about separate systems anymore. It's about everything being connected and these autonomous AIs working together like a well-oiled machine. And MCP is the conductor, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That's a perfect analogy. It's about a whole new level of intelligent interaction and autonomy. This isn't just some ticky detail. It's about what the future of AI could be and how it'll impact all our lives.
It really makes you wonder, what if everyone started using a system like MCP? How would that change not just AI, but how all our software systems work together, even how human experts collaborate? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.